The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Happy New Year! Yeah!
We made it.
We did.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year to everyone. This is You Got 15 Minutes. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Welcome.
First show of the year.
First
show of the year. I just had to say it. I got excited.
It is, right? And now we're a little bit seasoned, so
a little bit.
It's nice.
Yeah.
If you don't know, I'm Jay Green.
And I'm G. I'm
That's
back.
G.
I'm here.
We are here right in 2021.
We survived. We graduated.
We survived Jumanji.
We did. We survived Jumanji. We survived the Planderic. We survived.
Barely.
We survived
because
the mosquitoes.
It ain't over.
The mosquitoes.
No, why? I knew it was real when my mom was like, what happened to those killer hornets or whatever they were? I'm like, you know what?
What did happen to them?
They caught the Rona. That's what happened to them.
They caught
were
the Rona
in mid-flight and was like, oh.
Well, we survived them nonetheless.
Right. You didn't hear about none of them cases.
No, they were like, oh, we found where they be functioning at in Oregon, and that's it.
We eliminated all of them.
We sucked them into our thing.
We found all of the killer hornets in the world.
Just kidding. Don't worry.
We rounded them up.
Just focus on the Rona.
The Rona's more important.
Yeah, that's pretty much
that.
what it is.
The Planderic.
We survived those. We survived those fires. We survived California. We survived the whole year without rain till 2 weeks ago.
Literally. And then it rained all day,
So
in usual Los Angeles fashion.
Of course. But it didn't rain for Halloween like we thought it was going to.
No.
It didn't even sprinkle. It didn't even try to rain for Halloween. And normally it rains.
Yes, or it's
every
really cold.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that cold.
And you were out on Halloween, so you were like, yeah, nah, it's not even cold. It's not raining.
It was hoodie weather.
It was perfect. So for the first time. So I think 2020 as a whole, we survived every weird part of it that could have happened. We survived the good, the bad, the ugly, as they say. And now we're ready to transition into 21.
Yeah, because there was all kind of crazy stuff in the past year, too, before Corona. Because then I looked up, I'm like, okay, so what was going on this time last year?
Well, last year.
Well, yeah, but January 2020.
Yeah.
And it was the first case. There were those mass shootings. There were... Trump was still in the headlines then too
for something because he always is.
I'm like, let me see, because I looked it up specifically
so that you could compare and contrast last year to this year.
So the top of the 11 list that I saw is tensions between U.S. and Iran increase, which that was a whole thing.
Oh yeah,
and everybody forgot about it because that general got hit with a missile that was sent from the United States or something. Mm-hmm. The U.S. federal site got hacked. So this was January, the beginning of 2020.
I forgot about that.
The military base was targeted. The shooting in Aurora. The jet fuel dumped in L.A. Shout out to L.A.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I forgot.
There's
so many things that happened that I did forget about.
The Texas school shooting. There were 2 shootings over the weekend. Which weekend? I don't know. But... it was a weekend. I think what I read, it said it was in Texas or something like that. But I think it was in 2 different places, at the same time kind of thing. The U.S. announced its first case of case of Chinese virus. I guess it wasn't officially named Corona back then. So, and a helicopter crash kills 9. Kobe. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's so interesting that they put they just outlined it like that. And Trump releasing his 2 plans.
2 plans for what?
His plans for America.
Oh, well, we saw that failed.
Right.
Well, cheers to making it through 2020.
Yeah.
Don't judge us because we're drinking mimosas at night, but hey,
that's fine. It's never not a bad.
It's
good time
5 o'clock somewhere all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also 11 o'clock.
Need it.
It's also 11 o'clock brunch time somewhere all the time.
Really
So
though.
between those two rules, you can pretty much drink all day, whatever you want, whether it's a mimosa or it's a shot of tequila. So,
right. Or both.
Or both. You just spike your... But that's kind of... That's like a martini that's like a martini mimosa.
There's
to me.
something. I wish we had a bartender. Damo, where you at? We need to know the name of what.
No, you know what I want to do? I want to have a bartender duel. I want to get 2 bartenders, including Damo, but anybody else, and I want to have them make me drinks.
I was gonna say, and I'll be the
and
taste
then
tester.
we can taste them. That's what I think would be great.
But just don't make it too sweet.
Just don't make
Granny
it too sweet.
doesn't like her drinks too sweet. But other than that, I'm
You can make mine sweet because I like sweet.
and I might taste hers.
But anyways, that's what I want to do. Just because you said
Moving
that, and I was
forward,
like,
right.
yeah. So just FYI, any bartenders want to come duke it out, you can come bartend your soul out away
Definitely.
with your mask and COVID policies, of course. But yeah, so we survived 2020. We thought it was good. We thought everything was okay because we made it through and because we got Biden. But then today happened.
right.
And I was at work listening to the news, like, wait, what's going on? It was
My
so
phone was blowing up from every outlet of everything.
It was so like, okay, I wasn't shocked that they got that far because we all see they're white. So
right.
they could do whatever they want pretty much. So that wasn't what blew my mind. What blew my mind was that it looked like Woodstock. It looked like a concert. It looked like everything was fine. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it looked so normal, and then all of a sudden, it was like, wait, there's guns being pointed? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it went from being like, oh, the Trumpers are just out there doing their thing, to like, wait, you guys let them get inside? You guys, there's that many people there, and you guys let them get inside.
They're that trained in karate and martial arts, right?
I mean, we have the picture. That's the guy in Pelosi's office.
Like, right, and he's just.
I cannot. I'm so.
Look.
Even the news people, yeah, them scaling the walls, like
That's how they got in.
That's exactly. They did though. It was just they're
and
just in there chilling.
There's the one black guy
that was like, I'm just here to take pictures, probably. But I mean,
someone find that man.
It's wild to me that this really happened, and that like that. When I saw that, that's when I started paying attention, because I was like, holy shit, there's guns real. In like the house. Like, I can't, and nobody's dead yet. You know, like, I was like, okay, someone's gonna die. Then that girl died. You know, and so but these pictures are gonna be. They're gonna be historic though.
They are.
These pictures are gonna be amazing. Look at that.
It looks like a movie.
It's great, but it's also like, you fucking idiots.
Literally.
It's entertainment and it's not all at the same time. It's sad that. What's sad is, to me, it's not sad that they're protesting. It's sad that they got to do that, and nothing. Like, there's been no consequences as of yet. And they're talking about, I heard somebody on CNN saying, oh, you guys need to understand that the White House and everything is under CCTV all the time. So every single person that did anything is going to get seen, and they're going to get arrested and all this. Right. And I'm like, that's not, you guys aren't, come on. You're not going to try to arrest all those people.
Call Carmen Sandiego.
You're not.
To the case.
Because if you guys were that concerned, you guys would have had the military. They had to call the military from Virginia and from Maryland.
How many? It was probably 150 of them combined.
What I don't understand is they were so beefed up for all the other protests that were happening there. So why are you not beefed up for the protesters that are Trumpers?
That's because officers were like, I'm going to take that paid vacation and.
But there were officers that got hurt too. There were officers that got hurt
too.
And I'm just like, that whole thing was just such a, like, it just shows you Trump, what he does, like what he does to, it's like a disease. It's like, you hear him talk, and then the next thing you know, you're believing all the fuckery propaganda that he's pushing out of his face hole, and people are really falling for it. And then all of this went to shit, and now he's just sitting there like, oh, well, let me tweet like, thanks for the peaceful protest. How is it peaceful when they're breaking into the White House?
Now, imagine if those were black people.
Imagine if it was 5 black people. Not even all those people. Not even those thousands of people.
8.
Imagine it was 5.
5 and 2 children.
You and 5 friends. And they would have been all over it. It would have been a bloodbath. So quickly. It would have been...
That little rock climbing little thing they were doing up the wall. That would have been rubber bullets. That would have been
But when there
gas.
was a girl up there trying to like take down the flag, there was like all kind of National Guard, FBI, security, Secret Servicemen, snipers, all kind of shit for a girl on a pole with a pair of scissors or some shit. And y'all were on it so fast. But for this, you guys let it happen. And I honestly feel like at this point, Trump is just like, I'm going to go out with whatever fucking bang I could go out with because I lost. And now he's just, but it's like a little kid that's like, oh, I didn't win the game, so I'm going to like flip the Sega Genesis upside down. Or like, I lost, so I'm going to like I'm going to pop a hole in the ball so you guys can't keep playing. You get me? Like, that's what I feel like he's doing.
The
and
one that kicks the ball across the fence.
It just kicks it and it's like, you can't play. That's
like,
him.
bruh.
That's totally him. And now he can say, look, the people loved me so much that they broke into the White House for me. They broke onto the Senate floor for me.
He put those people up to that. His whole persona, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, it fuels that kind of behavior, whether it's direct or indirect or however you want to put it. But literally the fact of race is the reason why they were able to do it, why it was able to happen, why the media has spun it the way that they've spun it, because everything you read, it's protesters. It's not armed
rioters.
People, armed rioters, because y'all are at the Capitol.
No, but I will say that depending on what channel you watched, a lot of those anchor men and anchor women were saying rioters. They were very, because I was watching like 2 different news outlets, like for the most part for the whole day, and they were very upset, and they weren't referring to them as protesters. They were specifically saying, I'm not going to call them protesters. I'm going to call them thugs, and I'm going to call them rioters because they're violent and because they're disrespecting our government. And there were so many people on the news that were upset that I was like, yeah, and then to hear all of the reps come out on the floor and say, just before I came here, they were like, they were all saying their little thing, basically like, yeah, we're still going to do what we have to do tonight. Like, we're still going to continue what we took an oath to do, because regardless of what the president is trying to, you know what I'm saying? So I was just kind of like, this is even more fuel for the people that are really like, F Trump. They're really like, oh yeah, now is now. Like, now it's for real. Like, because you got, like, I don't know. I have so many feelings. I have so many words. Because I know words. So many words. Good words that I could use with my short arms. And
T-Rex arms.
But I'm sad and I'm happy at the same time, because it is kind of like, it's like more proof for everybody and for the world to kind of be like, yeah, these fuckers are crazy, to kind of show like, so do you really want to be associated with the crazies that broke into the White House? You get me? Like, but then it just goes to show you like how much more privilege. Now that's just going to be, we re-kick-started because, it fades away and like the internet will go ham and whatever. And then things will die down and it'll be on something else. And now it's like, yeah. So to bring it back, circle back to how, if you look at the pictures from the protests in the last several months and these protests now, or this riot, I should say now, it's like
drastic difference.
And it took them hours to get any kind of National Guard, any kind of army.
And the people that were there, they weren't even dressed for like any kind of combat or crowd control, like how they were out here with complete SWAT gear and shields and, face shields and body shields and everything. And they were out there just like with their hands folded, just standing in front of them. And then you see them like walking up to the front, and the guys are like walking with them. Like, they led them up to the front.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like, are y'all with them too? That's why it's kind of a fine line. Like, how did y'all get in? Because y'all all are cool.
And who's going to get held accountable for them getting inside? So, like, I need to know.
Who needs to get fired?
Who's going to get fired? Who was the person that was like, oh, you see them getting inside? They broke the building. They broke the window and didn't do nothing. Or, like, who... I want to know, how did that protocol go down? Because this has never happened before since, like, I think they said since, like, the 1700s or some shit. So who is in trouble for that? Like, who wasn't at their post? Is it because of COVID? Like, y'all didn't have nobody posted right there to see them climb the wall? Mm-hmm. Like, because if it had been one dude trying to climb the wall on a random day to, like, you know, put a flower up on top of the, like, chimney, they would have shot his ass down quick. But we saw it was like 7 people on the wall, and the fact that someone was able to, like, ooh, let me get this good shot and, like, take a picture of it.
That's what I'm saying. And you see no officers around. There's no one apprehending those people. There's nobody up at the top that's like, get down. Like, if it was reversed and it was a minority group up there, they'd have had people kicking people off the top of the wall, kicking them in their face, like all kind of brutality that they've seen, and it's been very clear. That's been on the media. It's been on people's phones. Like, even if the media doesn't want to show it, it's phones, there. Technology, we can find everything. People going live. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's so much, like, proof now. Mm-hmm. You can't really, like, come on. Okay, some things you can Photoshop nowadays, but now it's like, all right. Right. Like, it's like those people that lie and then they get them on camera and they're like, oh, it's me. You know? Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not me. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's you. Mm-hmm. And now, what are all these people going to do? They were out there literally behaving like animals. They were literally dressed in costumes, face painted, guns blazing. Dude looked like a Viking.
He had a Viking helmet on. Dude looked like a Viking.
I wonder how he picked out his fit for the event, but it was still like...
I'm sure he's glad he did, though, because now he's on TV. He's like, I chose the right one. And now if
he ends up getting some sort of, like, deal or something...
He is.
Right, you already know that the world is crooked.
Remember the cowboy would wear, like, his underwear that was like American flag? He's going to be like him. He's going to be he's going to be like the poster child for, like, crazy Trumper... I don't know, something. It's gonna there, but those pictures that we saw, and I think there's one more picture of the guy at the top at the house. What is it at the? I don't know what to call it. It's where someone sits in the top of like the Senate. The podium? Yeah, like at the very top, because there's like the ones that are red, but it's the person that sits at the very top. Mm-hmm. He was there like. Ah! And they took a picture, and I was like, "Oh my god,
there were ridiculous. A lot of crazy photos that I ran across, and just like different angles, and like you see the same people over and over.
Those are going to be worth so much money.
It's like, pictures. And imagine the people that were in there just like snapping pictures away, like that weren't even in there for no other reason. They're just like, I'm just a photographer, and I'm just like spinning around taking pictures, and then
now your shit's on whatever."
That's everywhere wild. On all the news medias, everything. But I feel like nothing is going to happen to those people. No. Nothing. It's going to go right under the bridge. They're not going to get fired for their jobs. Right. And you know what? Why haven't they mentioned her race?
They haven't said that she's a white girl? No. Or what? Mm-mm. I didn't know that. No. Because they know that she's white. And they don't want to say a white girl got shot. They don't want to say that. Because that's too...
Because she's just a girl. Yeah. But if it was a black girl or whatever, they'd make sure they said it. But
I feel like, too, also because now it's like, everyone's like, that blood is on Trump's hands, that he's probably like, don't say anything. Let's not talk about it.
But that, too, it's like, why do you guys want to play that down? Because they stormed the Capitol and y'all let them, and then now you have to pay with the repercussions that there's cameras and the internet and all this stuff got out.
Because Trumpers aren't supposed to be... Trumpers are not violent. You know that.
Right.
The Trumpers aren't
most
violent.
Peaceful people ever.
So why would we...
But then, too, violent. Like, you see them there with their guns. Who else could be in there with guns like that? Like, having that amount of privilege, I could only imagine. And it's funny because they don't even realize that it's happening. So, it's like, that's why you haven't even seen photos of any black men out there with machine guns and whatever else, because you'll get shot down. We can't even walk around with a toy gun. You see little kids getting shot down because they play with toy guns that look too real. So it's like, but these people probably are not going to get apprehended, and you're not going to see their face all over the whatevers, so people could really identify them, and let's really figure out who these people are, like they were supposedly doing for all the damage that happened all over the cities and everything like that. So. Right? They do and pick and choose who they want to do that to, also, and I feel like this is not going to be any different. And
I wouldn't bet that in a couple of days, that dude that we saw in the picture, the one black guy, that he's gonna get caught. They're gonna arrest him and be like, he broke inside.
The internet hounds him down. I'm sure they've already found him. I give him another 12 hours. I give him until noon tomorrow.
His Twitter's gonna be shut down,
and the internet will do its work per usual, and they will find him.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of Karen videos that come out tomorrow.
Oh, the Karens.
Yeah. It's going to be people at the thing. People at the Capitol being Karens.
Look at this Karen.
Yeah, and I'm ready.
You're going to wake up.
I'm like, it's Karen. I'd wake up every day and do it. We're not going to go through that again, but it's an everyday thing.
She's a Karenaholic.
Anyway, if you guys don't know, now you know. They stormed the Capitol. It's quite tragic, but also kind of hilarious, but also quite
tragic and disappointing.
And I'm just glad that it was white people, and that and it wasn't. I'm glad that BLM. I'm glad that BLM was never like, we're gonna storm the White House.
Let's hope that the black guy in those pictures was photoshopped.
I'm so glad that you guys put up all those armed guards for when nobody was trying to do what these white people just did.
Nobody.
And you guys didn't arm up for them, and now a girl died. And so I think it just goes to show you, like, anyways, point is, who's going to be held accountable? Because that is the topic of tonight's discussion. Because 2021, I feel like we need to level up, people, and we need to hold ourselves accountable. 2020 taught us to be humble. It taught us to, like, manage things differently. I feel like people had wake-up calls this year. Like, this was the year of, like, if you didn't have your shit together, get it together now. And if you're on your plan already and you have your shit together, level that shit up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like accountability is a great topic for today. If you guys want to call and chime in with us, 323-815-4204. Is it 4? It's 4204. Sometimes I think it's 9, but it's 4204. 323-815-4204. We're talking about accountability. Call in. Let us know how you're feeling. Or if you want to talk about the Capitol, talk about those white people, let us know. But
talk about whatever. But
so, accountability. I think, I don't know, this year I had a lot of conversations. Obviously, because we were stuck at fucking home. So we couldn't really do shit else but sit around and watch TV, YouTube University, and Instagram, what's the word? Instagram, like, meditate, and Instagram intellect posts. You know what I'm saying? So, like, everybody, we all had our year of,
I'm
like,
a content meditator.
There you go. Content meditator.
It was like the world stopped for a second, huh?
Yeah. Shh, don't tell anybody else. Okay, we're gonna keep that between us.
It was like
content meditator.
The world stopped, and we figured out the next new thing.
That's the next new thing. You heard it first here. You got 15 minutes. Aren't you glad you had 15 minutes here with us?
Yes.
So
for the future.
I feel like, I know me personally, I've held myself accountable for a lot of shit that happened prior to 2020 that led me into a certain space in my life, and I was making up excuses for myself, about myself, to myself, with myself in every way possible, and I didn't want to hold myself accountable to a lot of things that I was causing on myself. Like, I was bringing it, I was my own person, bringing it to my own table, serving it to myself, eating it, and then being like,
making your bed and laying
exactly.
in it, as they say.
So I thought about my journey to 2021 and how I'm holding everybody accountable. Whether it's you,
mamas,
it's
kids,
mamas,
grannies,
everybody,
children,
all y'all,
everybody.
Because too many times I feel like we just want to make up excuses, and it's easier to just not put the blame where it belongs, whether it's on you or it's on somebody you love, or it's for, whatever. It's easier to not, like, put it on, to really just admit, like, that was on you. We're going to call it out, and that's what it is. And people have a hard time really dealing with, like, oh, I fucked up, or like, oh, maybe that is my fault, or maybe that is, you know, maybe I am doing that to myself, you know, and I think 2020 should have taught people how to, people were learning about their relationships, learning about, you know, like how they're dealing with their partners, their living situations. But how much time did you spend like figuring stuff out about you? And how much accountability did you take for why 2020 hit you so hard with the pandemic? Or like, have you taken accountability for like why you are still with that person you don't want to be with? Or like why you haven't gotten a promotion at your job? Because now you don't have the job. And now you have time to really sit around and like, you know, what did I do? What didn't I do? And it's not always about like maybe placing the blame on yourself, but at least holding yourself accountable for the things that you know, like you know you didn't get up and you weren't on time at every meeting, and that's why you didn't get chosen for that promotion. You get what I'm saying? Like, not that you didn't do the work.
Make it make sense.
Not that you didn't deserve it, but you didn't deserve it by not showing up to work on time. You know? And it's like the small things, like, you know, just like little things. Like, did your car break down? Because
those little things of commitment.
Exactly. And I feel like 2021 people need to really like, if you haven't already, you need to like sit down and like reevaluate everything and pick and choose what you want to do with this year, with the money, the little funky stimulus, whether it's that or it's your ED money, or or if you're you know, blessed to still have your job. Like, everything should be realigned for you at this point in some fashion, like if whether it's the smallest piece of your puzzle or you've got one more piece to complete the whole puzzle. You know what I'm saying? Like, something you should have done something by now, and you should feel like holding yourself accountable is going to get you to the next level, because it always will. So I'm challenging the people around me to really, like, you know, focus in and hone in on the things that fucked you last year. Right. Or the year before that.
Growth and progression just to do better, and, you know.
Exactly. Advance. And there's no reason now. We had a whole year to fucking sit.
You better had figured something out. You better, like, that's how I feel. It's like, I feel like this will expose people's weaknesses, you know? And this, like, for instance, people that love to go to the bar to not be at home. The bars are closed. So now what?
You're stuck at home.
And I think as far as 2020 and, like, people with the jobs and stuff like that, that reflecting, or this has exposed the go-getters and the non-go-getters, because the go-getters are going to be the ones that still have their jobs, that are still doing what they need to do to keep their job, and the other people are the ones that got let go, because, you know, working in a big company, it's a different kind of like termination process than you work at a local whatever, you know?
It depends.
But, you know, I can imagine it'd be more emotional, or, you know, it could just be because it's a more personal conversation, maybe because it's like a family-run business or something like that. But anywho, I feel like it's shown who really, what's going to drive you, you know? If you haven't figured that out, because are you going to work just to work and live, or are you going to work to live and enjoy? And I feel like when people, as far as accountability, sometimes when you usually hurt the people you love the most when you're not content in what you're doing, or content, and then it makes you kind of like, I feel like people that are not content with themselves, they become very like nitpicky or like short fused with other people, because it's like, I already got enough going on, and then you're doing something over there, you know, like they kind of don't know how to react to it, because it's just like conflicting with their energy, you know? So I feel like people that are like distracted by that, or like too caught up in that, like all that will go right over their head as far as like reflecting, and, you know, people that are just, this is like another day. Like 2020 is the same struggle they've been doing before. It's just with a mask on when you go in the store, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I feel like some people, it's going to be that same passion, you know, whatever, but like, and they're not going to hold themselves accountable, and they're not going to care. And it's just going to be like, I'm just trying to feed my kids, or make it to work the next day, or make sure my car stays running, you know? But I think that that focus and that drive to want something, like you said, to just grow and learn, has to push you towards, if it's your job, if it's building better relationships, if it's building better relationships within your job, you know, just not within your home or your kids, whatever. I think accountability, I mean, there's accountability across the board.
Right.
You know, you can have accountability at work and all that kind of stuff. And something interesting that I saw was like having an accountability partner.
Oh yeah, I've
and
had
like,
one of those.
You know, and like it was like kind of saying like it was a more of a funny, it was like an article I read, but it was saying like how to ask someone to be your partner, and it like gave you all the little like cute breakdowns of everything. But I feel like that's important because it's like it you feel like they're gonna hold you to that a little bit more, you know, than what just doing it by yourself, because sometimes it's hard to get that motivation if you don't feel like your everyday is going to ever amount to anything. But, you know, if you keep focused and just, you know, like, I don't know, delve within yourself a little bit. But some people that self-reflection isn't easy, but I think accountability is easy to start with, and it's easy to just kind of like let it flow, like you said, to say sorry, to say I need help, to say, you know, whatever. But I think it's good to look around the people around you and like start with that. I feel like, because it's
your accountability partner shouldn't be like a stranger. It should definitely be somebody that like knows you and somebody that can call you on your shit, because to be held accountable, you're gonna want somebody, like I would want somebody that knows my routine. I want somebody that knows when I'm gonna slip up, like for example, like a dieting accountability partner or a workout partner. Like I want somebody that's like, oh, when I'm thinking about chocolate, I'm about to call GNC and make sure she's not eating chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that I'm gonna hold myself accountable, and in that moment, is she gonna do the same thing? Because if I'm thinking about chocolate right now, she's probably thinking about chocolate. So I know that I feel like when you choose a partner, because like you said, some people it's not easy to muster up the strength in yourself to really, and sometimes you need somebody to call you on your shit for you to even recognize what your shit is. So if you can find somebody who's can communicate with you correctly on some like, hey dude, you know what I mean, versus like just a person, you know, like you want to be comfortable, and you want somebody that's out for your best interest. So if it's easier for you to know, for you to have help and have somebody that's going to call you every day and be like, did you drink your gallon of water? You know, like, did you not eat chocolate today or whatever? Then start there. But I feel like at the end of the day, people need to start really like, just, even if you can't focus on, you know, making the steps to be better, you need to at least hone in on the things that you know you're doing wrong, or you know that aren't going to do yourself justice. Because it's one thing to like admit it, and then it's another thing to admit it and make changes. Those are two different steps. So if you're starting out with just being like, hey man, I drink like 3 sodas a day. I know I don't need to drink soda. So like, if you see me drink a soda, tell me not to drink a soda. I know for sure that worked for me when I was quitting smoking cigarettes, which was a very long time ago, thanks to Lauren, because she changed my life and made me quit smoking in 2000. And I want to say like 8 or like 9. No, it was like maybe 2010. Yeah, it was like 2010. But, you know, having somebody that's going to be like, so did you quit smoking yet? Or like, oh wait, you're smoking a cigarette, but you don't smoke anymore. Like, why are you smoking a cigarette? Or like, you're drinking soda? Because then it's like embarrassing.
They remember better than you.
Yeah. Like, oh. You know, it's like having your mom tell you, like, did you eat your vegetables? Don't drink soda before you eat your food. Like, did you jump in the pool without your floaties on? Like, you know, there's so many things. And it's like, we need that sometimes. And I feel like that's the first step. That's one of the first steps of being like, okay, look, because announcing help is like, that's the scariest part, is admitting it to yourself and saying it out loud, like, hey, can you help me do this? That's that, you know what I'm saying? So if you can at least just admit the things to yourself and do things in private that only you know are gonna affect you because you're and nobody has to know
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're one of those nasty motherfuckers that doesn't wash their goddamn sheets but twice a year. You may, like you could do that. You could do that in the privacy. Nobody gotta know that you change your sheets more often. But that's one step better towards greatness that you need to be at for 2021. So, but if you're just the person that's
let's make it 4 times, y'all. 4 times in a year. Let's shoot for it.
When I read that, but at the same time, so I'm gonna say something. Some of those posts on Facebook that say things like that, like the headline, it'll be like an article and it'll be like, studies show that 40% of people don't wash their sheets but twice a year. So I looked at that and I was like, I clicked on it. It was a British article about British people.
Oh, yeah. Well, you already know how they
get down. Or I don't remember if it was the one about mattress. I don't remember if it was the one about washing your sheets or if it was the one about washing your undergarments. It was whatever it was.
Washing your clothes or
my
washing
point
your
was
arms.
that I've read a couple of those where I've like just read the headline and been like, nah, and then clicked on it or noticed that it said BBC at the bottom, which is a dead giveaway that it's from the UK. So then I clicked on it and I was like, all this shit is from the UK. It doesn't even apply to us because, it does because there are some funky people out there. But some of those things, funky, you guys, before you guys share them, first of all, read them. So you know if it's not from like 1987 and you're like reposting it as if it just happened, and make sure that it applies to us.
That's the worst.
Right. Hold yourself accountable. Do your research. Drink your water. Mind your business.
Drink your water. Mind your business. Get life insurance. Invest. Save to buy a house.
Right. All that stuff.
Yeah. Don't try and pay any more rent.
And start all of that by holding yourself accountable.
Yes, that's literally
because and I feel like a lot of people just are scared to make that jump. Like people get set in their ways. We get to a certain age where you're like, oh, I know myself. I am so good. And then you don't want to hear that you can improve. Like you don't want to hear, you don't want to take the advice or like you don't want to, and to me, when I see people resist, like, being better, I just think like you're resisting exactly that. Like you're resisting something that's going to make you great because your pride is like, but you don't.
But it's different.
It's like that. And I feel like at the same age that we feel like, we need to be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like we need to be more like, dang, I'm whatever age and have I, did all the things or done all the things that I wanted to do or have I like, could I do better? Like, should I go back to school or like, should I switch careers or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even if you got to start small with like, should I move to a different neighborhood? Should I buy a car? Should I, move in with my person or should I, all those like small things that just like are gonna kick you forward. You get what I'm saying? And when people suggest stuff, especially, I don't know, as millennials, we are kind of stanky. We are kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I watched my mom struggle, my grandma raised me, and I mean, I'm good. And like YouTube. So, and that's not gonna work. Yeah. Like at some point, like you have to be able to take the advice, especially from people that maybe don't necessarily know you and are just getting an outside perception of you and are just kind of like,
because those are the ones.
Those are the ones that are going to tell you some honest shit when they have nothing to gain from it, that are just like, oh, I'm going to tell you just because I see potential in you and you need to know this. Those are the people that you need to be like, wait, what did they say?
That'd be like, hey, you look like shit today. Are you okay? Like,
you'd
is
be like,
everything
wait,
okay? And you're like,
I'm fine. Looking like the whole trash.
Looking like the cat drug you in. Yeah. And you're like, no, I'm fine. Yeah.
And I feel like communication is like if you didn't learn shit in 2020, you should learn how to talk to somebody. Because what was you doing? You was FaceTiming, you was Zooming on your meetings, you were on Facebook, you were on the phone, and you couldn't maybe we couldn't have been in each other's faces, but you were in each other's face.
Somebody was on somewhere watching something, and you could have used that energy for something else. And
if you haven't like learned the value of communication at this point, you might as well just shoot yourself in the foot now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just people don't take into consideration how valuable and how serious communicating is, and how learning other people's communication styles. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when you can admit that you are like me, I can admit I got a mean face and I scare people away with my mean face accidentally. This brow has gotten me in so much trouble. And I know that. And I know that I'm animated and that intimidates people. I know that I'm loud. I know that I can be a bitch by accident. And I'll just be like, so people get like, So I try to really think about how I release words out of my face, because I have to think about who I'm talking to. I have to think about my audience. I don't really think about y'all because y'all just the homies, but I have to think about when it's serious and when it matters, how I can direct, not my energy, because my energy is fine. It's how can I direct the words that are flying out of my face hole. Yeah. I need to give them direction. And if I hadn't learned that about myself and held myself accountable to that, I wouldn't be able to sit here and say that. And I wouldn't recognize that problem when I see it in other people. And I feel like learning that and being like, you know what? You do talk to people sometimes like shit. Like sometimes you do, and you don't mean to. You just get too comfortable. When I like accepted that and was like, okay, you know what? The next time some shit goes wrong, I'm gonna think about how did I do that? Like how I'm gonna hold myself accountable for how I probably spoke to that person, or like how my body maybe was directed at them, or like, you know what I'm saying? And it helps me reflect. It helps me make better choices with that person and other people that are like those people. But if you're just one of those people that just everybody's always got something to say about how you talk, and you never take the time to be like, oh, maybe I'm harsh, or maybe I shouldn't like say something all the time. Maybe I should be like, you know, like maybe I should just shut up. If you haven't figured that out, that's probably why things aren't going forward for you, because you won't hold yourself accountable for something so little. So it's just like, it's just a domino effect to me of like the smallest little thing can affect you in the long run, because you're not even, and then when someone calls you on it, like, hey, you kind of talk like shit, and then you're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, no, just take it in. Like, you can be affected, but I can't tell you how many times people have said things to me and my insides fire the fuck up, and I can't do anything because I know me, Carolyn will flare out of my throat, which is my mother.
Shout out, Mom.
And I will go nuts, and I know that though. So I have to like, let me take this, good evening. Let me take this constructive criticism with a grain of salt and just sit here and smile with this fake ass smile. Studio. That's live and in person. That's if I wasn't able to sit and take it and be able to like, okay, here it is, I would continue to make the same mistakes with like the smallest things. You get me? Like the smallest things would have fucked me up hella a long time ago. But my 20s, I took my 20s to be like, oh, this right here, this keeps getting you in trouble. You need to do this. You need to practice.
Hello.
And when I tell people that the stories of like how much my face has gotten me in trouble, or like jobs I feel like I didn't get because I feel like I scared the interviewer because I was too excited, or I was too like, I don't know.
Looking intense.
Like, I guess so. But now I have to try to like remember to tone it down, or, you know, or a really big thing like past relationships. People really don't like to take any blame or fault in what happened previously just because you didn't cheat. That doesn't mean, just because he cheated on you doesn't mean that you were an angel, or just because vice versa. And I really, that's another day though, because that's going to turn into a whole other conversation.
What I think is funny is that why people always want to know, how did you guys break up? Like, and I feel like it's because of, they want to know, who do they hold accountable? Who needs to be, whose fault is this?
Whose friend am I going to defriend on Facebook?
But why is that what matters when it's a relationship, that it's like, why'd y'all break up? It doesn't matter if it's your friend, your friend's cousin. You're like, it's like you just want to know, or you have to ask. Nosy. Right, but humans it's like, but specifically, because then what difference is it going to make? Now you know. Okay. You reached no other, and see, that's why
now you can just be like,
people be worried about the wrong stuff.
Drink your water, mind your business. Don't worry about who did what.
Mind the business that pays you. Ooh. And most of y'all ain't.
Go where the money reside. 2021.
Hey. right.
That is funny though. That is one of the first things that people say is like,
no.
Oh, but why?
Why'd you guys break up? What happened? Or like if it's like, or if they say, there was cheating. Who cheated? People always want to know because they just want to know who can they hold accountable. And then depending on who's held accountable, it's like curved a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, if he cheated, it's like, oh, men are horrible, they're pigs, whatever. And it's like if she cheated, it's like,
well, what'd you do?
It's like, you slut, whatever. Or it's like it's a different spin on it.
No, I feel like when women cheat, it's always like, well, what did he do that made you cheat? I feel like people want to. People are like, what did he do? What didn't he do? Or did he cheat first? But like, I feel like when men cheat, it's kind of just like, oh, he cheated. Like, like
it just
people
happened.
just kind of are like, they just want to know, like you said, but it's never like, oh, it's always like, oh, yeah, he cheated.
That's because I feel like men are supposed to be more spontaneous and carefree about that. And women it's like stereotypical for us to emotionally cheat, or like that's what drives us to cheat sexually is because we're emotionally stimulated by someone else because we're not fulfilled in our own relationship or whatever. And then it's like, so I think that's why it probably goes more on women of like, you slut, you whore, because they know we was there like, big giggling and whatever else. And you like, you dirty whore. I made you eggs this morning and you out here
giggling and shit.
Right, all up in somebody's face. And I made you eggs.
And I made you eggs with mimosas.
And they were runny because you wanted them that way.
With salt and pepper and onion powder.
And I made them again because I messed them up the first time.
I wasted 6 eggs on you.
And you out here giggling.
And kikiing. With the nigga at work.
Do you love me?
And it be the nigga at work. It be
the work husband.
It be the work husband. Oh, he my play brother. It made me think of girlfriends. And when I don't know, it just made me think of that whole. I'm still really sad that we don't get to know what happens at the end of Girlfriends. That was one thing that blew up 2020 was Girlfriends getting on Netflix. Nigga,
that
what?
That
was amazing because we just got to sit
crazy.
and binge it. I didn't realize how much of Girlfriends I didn't know, like how many seasons there were, and how much storyline I really didn't pay attention to, like how she went from being a lawyer to owning the club. Like I didn't. You're like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, the club.
See?
I don't know. I probably stopped watching by then, but
hold yourself accountable to the fact that.
But that was after she got with Todd, right?
The restaurant, yeah.
Right? No, see, I remember that.
Okay.
You said club. I'm like,
I mean restaurant. Yeah, not club. Yeah. That's what I meant.
I was like club.
Well, it was like a lounge.
Yeah.
It was a restaurant lounge.
For them, they're bougie, so it was whatever you wanted
it was be. Whatever. Yeah, I would just move the chair over there or put a table right there. That's all it was. But yeah. But yeah. Relationships and accountability, I feel like there's a lot of the times people don't hold themselves accountable in their relationships with their person for the stupidest things or for the biggest things. And those can be the deal breakers. Because if you aren't mature enough to hold yourself accountable for something small, like constantly leaving shit on the floor or something like that, or you can't hold yourself accountable for the fact that you like are cyber flirting or you know what I'm saying? Or like some fuck shit that you're doing. Or something that you're not even doing intentionally. Something that you're doing. You don't even realize it's hurting.
You're a flirt and you're just like, hey,
or not even
friendly.
Not even a flirt. I don't mean like that. I just mean like you're doing something and it's hurting your person and you don't even realize it because maybe your person doesn't say anything or maybe your person is just like, like, oh, you should know what bothers me. Because how women for some reason we think that men can read our minds. I don't understand.
You didn't know. I had an attitude for 3 days. We be so mad. You didn't figure it out. I coughed 15 times.
I'm trying to hold myself more accountable for things that I know that I've done in the past in my relationships where I thought the men could read my mind and I felt entitled to a certain treatment because I felt like they should know already. And I don't feel like I would have been in some of the same situations I was in had I just recognized it, I guess, and like, I don't know, maybe planned my plan of action better. Like if I would have made a better attempt at certain things, I would have either like vacated quicker or I would have advanced quicker in certain relationships because I just think I wasn't ready to be like, no, I totally do that. sorry. I thought I would, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was, but really, in reality, I was just like, yeah, okay, here. But, like, okay, we're done. Like, like, I was just kind of like, okay, here, like, yeah, sure, I did it, but, like, here, let's not talk about that. Drink this drink. Like, like, not pay, like, okay, yeah, I did it, okay, sure, but, like, here, eat some more food. Like, I would try to just, like, admit it and brush it off. Like, here, let me distract you with something else. Like, here, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. But now I'm kind of like, nah, I'm this way. I know I'm this way. And so you should know I'm this way. And I'm going to be this way. And if you want to help me not be this way, feel free. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be this way. So, like, you want to play rock, paper, scissors or what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a little bit. And then everybody else, too. I'm kind of like, so it smells like shit and it looks like shit. And I stepped in it and it felt like shit. So it's probably shit. And I'm not going to keep like trying to make up excuses and not hold other people accountable for what they're doing and how it makes me feel, even if those weren't their intentions. Because
boundaries. Even
though intentions, people want oh, I didn't intend to hurt you, or like, oh, I didn't intend to whatever, but it still hurts. Even if you didn't intend to do it, it still happened and it still hurts. So, like, just know that you did it. Hold yourself accountable for the fact that you did it, and then move forward and don't do it again. And I am tired of not holding people to that standard and not holding people to that of like, oh, if you know that I don't want shit, why do you keep bringing shit to my party?
I think it's like, they say you can't love someone else until you love yourself. I feel like it's similar to the same way. If you don't set up your own accountability, how can you hold someone else accountable? So then I feel like you get frustrated because you're not upholding your boundaries. And then you're mad about that because you're like, I wish I could say something. Now it's like built up. And that was something that I dealt with too. Like when I was younger in previous relationships was like, I don't know how to say, or I feel stupid for being upset about this, but then you're just there upset and then nothing comes of it. Yeah. But I had to figure out like, well, closed mouths don't get fed. If you don't know why I'm mad or what I want you to do, how can I expect you to do it? Like, I was like, it doesn't make sense. So it's like, okay, well, at least I'm going to put it out there. Right. So I could say, I said it. Yeah. You got the point. You heard it. And then that's on you. Now I can make my own choice. Am I going to let you do what you want to do and not do what I asked or do what I would like? Or, stand up for myself and hold you accountable and hold myself accountable for saying, oh, I'm not going to put up with this, or I'm not going to stay if X, Y, and Z, But I think it's growth, learning. Everything is a learning process, and it's just, I think another big thing for accountability is parents and children. Like, parents need to show their kids, I think, a little bit more that they're human also, and, like, be more willing to apologize and, like, because I feel like a lot of things now, their kids are just kind of like it's like, no, like, don't do this. Don't, like, kids don't understand why a lot of things. And I notice a lot of kids have a lot less respect for older people and like just basic like etiquette things that I'm like, it's just not, I feel like it's not that time getting taken out to uphold that. And I feel like it's the same thing. Accountability for your children. Like, I feel like it's more, they're their own person. They can, do as they please. I'm not going to force them to be like X, Y, and Z. But then it's like, come on, you need to teach your kids, basic like manners. How to be decent humans. Yeah, like you're walking into a store or you're going somewhere or you see an older woman. Like, you see kids now, old woman walks in and a bunch of kids are sitting down. They're not going to get up for their seat. But like kids back in the day, they know grandma, whoever, an older person comes in a place and everyone's sitting down that's younger than her, someone get up and get the seat, Yeah. So I feel like people the same, parents can't hold themselves accountable for their own issues. So how can they help their kids and then teach their kids to hold people accountable? And I feel like now, especially with the internet on the parents' end and the kids' end, everybody's distracted by their own stuff. And it's easy, like you said, like here, just look at this instead. Yeah. Just look at this, and we don't have to deal with that. I don't have to say sorry. I don't have to talk about how I let you down before.
Here's this. Here's a phone. Here's shoes. Here's this. Here's an iPad.
Yeah, and it's like, what is that going to do for people, these kids, the relationships later on in life? It's like, I feel like it's already dwindling, like that old school, like, oh, you talk on the phone all night, or, they write you a love letter or something. Like, you don't even see that anymore. That's like, huh? is unheard of. So I feel like either that's going to come back after 2020. Like this is going to revitalize, like it's going to be some sort of little renaissance or something like for creatives or people like expressing themselves. I feel like either people they self-reflected and learned some other way to express themselves or get all those feelings out, or they're more messed up than they were before because they still haven't learned, reflected, held themselves accountable, and they're still lost and confused even more now than ever because of 2020 and everything going on now. So if you don't have your head on straight, you're just running into the forest in the dark, like you're not prepared for life. You're not prepared for living. I feel like, because if you're not able to experience the people around you, I think that you're not living every moment to its best, and you're not able to be comfortable within yourself because you're not free. You're still like limited within your own thoughts of yourself and what you can do. But I'm going to try and hold myself more accountable in 2021. I want to uphold more boundaries for myself and practice more self-care, because I feel like I have issues with like being like, okay, or like, being like a team player, but it's like, oh, but then I still have to go do this or that, or whatever. So I feel like that's something that will help me be more productive, but hold myself more accountable just in a smaller sense. Yeah. But in the end, it will help me be more productive at the end. And like just with time management and stuff like that. Because it's easy to just be like, I don't want to do it. Let's go do this, Yeah. So it's like you have to make the best of it. And I feel like you said, 2020, everybody was sitting in the house doing something. If this didn't teach you something about yourself or your relationships around you, you got to figure it out.
Right. And I'm holding you accountable for not figuring it out if you did sit your ass in the house and not do anything. And if that's something that you did and you feel like you're lost and you feel like you don't know what to do, you got to pick yourself up. Because at some point, nobody's going to pick you up. So you have to do it at some point. Don't be scared to reach out to your friends, ask for help, all that kind of stuff, whatever you got to do. But if you thought it was bad in 2020, it's just going to get worse if you don't move forward. Yes. I wish all of you guys for 2021 to be able to move forward, push through whatever type of shit you feel like you went through in 2020, and just know that we can all do it. It's at some point, something's got to give, and you have to start with yourself so that at the end of it, when it does give, at least you're still solid and you're still grounded, because it's always going to give. Something's always going to give. The levee's always going to break. There's always going to be a wrench. There's always going to be something's going to happen. And as long as you have it together and you know what your path is and you know what you're trying to do, you can survive it. So
there is light at the end of the tunnel, always, people. You can get out of that hole that you may be feeling like you're in. Yep. Motivation is there. The motivation is there within yourself. Yep. Thank you guys for being here with us. And if you guys want some accountability partners, you guys can hit us up too.
Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram. Yes. We're there. One of us will answer. Sometimes you don't know who we're talking to. Just ask, because it's one of us. Yeah. So, come through. Follow us on Instagram. You got 15 minutes. Follow us on Facebook. If you haven't already, follow us or go to Morse Media Live on YouTube. Watch all of our previous shows there as well. Yes, and stay safe. Studios. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Don't storm the Capitol. It's not worth it. And
stay safe, people.
Stay safe. See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks, Wednesday, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. You got 15 minutes.